So we've marked the bottom of this saddle, this bone saddle. Now we're going to try to sand it down and see if we can get it flatter. See if that'll fix the issue. We have 120 and 180 grit paper. Unfortunately, what?
If that don't wake your butt up, there's something wrong with you.
She's talking about coffee. Espresso, the new one we're just trying. But we might do a review video on that later. So 120. This is what's weird is when you go to the hardware store, they usually come in a pack of like 2 different grits, and there's like 5 different packs they sell. By the time you bought all 5 of them, from the largest grit size to the polishing, whatever that is, 220 or whatever, you're gonna spend 40 or 50 bucks just buying that. So this is definitely a smaller grit than what I had. So let's just see what happens. Anyway, so there's the marker line. So we're gonna try to keep it as flat as possible, which this is already so small it's hard to kind of hold. You see it rocking? Just kind of go back and forth. I can already see some of the marker leaving the, not all of it though. Some of it's going. So you can see, got a lot of it already. Hardest thing is keeping it steady and not like making it put too much pressure on the edges versus just like flat. Close. Most of it, except the little tip there, has still got, you know, it's clear of the marker. That definitely means it wasn't level. This that means this area here, this whole bottom area, was probably protruding out further than the sides were. So as we sand it down flat, all of it goes flat, and then eventually it'll hit this area here and sand it down. That's the hope, I guess. Still a little bit resistant to do that, so maybe we got a lot more sanding to do. So we have all but that little pit here, and maybe just slightly right there at that tip done. Almost. Look there. Now we're not getting that piece. Let me look at it from the side. That little area there probably needs to be ground a little bit too. But we are very close on this side. Sandpaper wants to move. I'm sure this is boring by now, so I'll just cut to it when we get something changes. I'm happy with that so far, so now we're going to move to the 180 grit here. Just doing a fine sanding and maybe just get it a little bit wet so it kind of polishes it. So just go a couple times, turn it around, make sure it's getting like evenly. That's Natalie burping over there, if you could hear that on camera. She's wanting to fall now. It's getting harder to hold. You can, yeah. Mama, Natalie's making all kinds of belchy noises over there. So I'm gonna wet one little area here on this paper. Kind of put this over it. Give it a little, just a light sanding. Kind of trying to polish it. Sometimes when you add water, it does a little bit better job when you're doing the fine sanding stuff. Turn it around one more time. All right, let's look at it. All right, I don't think I see any of that black marker left now. Or maybe right at that very tip there. Let me try again, just slightly. All right, that's the tip. Yeah, I think that might have hit the edge here. Let me look at it up close. Oh, it's just a tiny bit down there. But yeah, like I said, it's very hard to get. Let's look at it one more time. Yeah, that may not come out there, but we're going to go ahead and try it. So at the initial test of the bone saddle, it actually made the low E a little bit louder. It seemed like the high B was not quite as loud. I wonder if I just like tuned and retuned the strings so much that I've like stretched them out and deadened them. But I'm going to see how this original saddle, how like flat it is. It's got some leeway to like get it even lower, the action, based on me lowering the other one. So maybe I should just put a little Sharpie on the bottom here and do the same thing. Just watch me get my darn fingers here. So yeah. So let's do the same thing. I'm just going to skip to the 180 grit versus the slightly bigger grit sandpaper. Probably a lot of distractions in the background. I just fed the dogs and I got Natalie talking on the phone in another room and the kids not quite ready for sleep, talking and watching TV. But let's see. We're going to just lightly do it here. Could go all the way down. Look at there. We already got some of the marker coming down. You can see it. Doesn't quite look like it was flat. Looks like it was even like a curve there, you know, like it's angled, you know, forward or backward maybe, you know. These dogs are driving me crazy. Kids driving me crazy. Dogs driving me crazy. May actually go to the other grit sandpaper at first because looks like we do have some work here. Back to the slightly larger grit sandpaper. Not a lot to hold on to here. Make sure it's flat. Look at there. We still got a lot of that black there. Turn it around and see, just like the other one, making sure we're not putting too much pressure on the ends. Starting to disappear a little bit or fade. I'm sure this is what you guys really come to watch this video for, watching somebody sand something. Most boring thing in the world. You can see, it's already looking a little better. Let's see. Go a really long stroke straight, that probably will help it. Alright, turn it around again, make sure we get it even. And dogs fighting over dog food. So, the end's a little bit there. Actually, I think I got more on the side than the bottom there, so let's just go just a little bit more. always some at the end. All of it seems like it does not want to work. Let's turn it around another time or two. I'm sure some professionals are going to say, that's not how you do this. All right, we got most of it off, so we're going to switch back to the other sandpaper again. Going to go a few strokes and see if we can get most of this black to disappear. I think most of it is. Very close. Wow, okay, it looks like it's pretty much gone. We're gonna just wet it like we did the last one and do kind of like a polish. Alright, so it's kind of wet there. Keep the water into the sandpaper and into the saddle. Turn it around. All right, that's good enough for me. So here we're going to just play a tiny bit just to see how it sounds with the bone nut after I sanded it down. Remember, this is with the broken strings and strings that have been retuned like 40 times. Next, we're going to try it plugged in so you can kind of hear the dead soundingness. Hear that, like the low E is not near as loud. Listen, and the A is a little louder, but not quite as loud as the middle strings. All right, here we go. And now the B is starting to get a little quiet. Possible issue is that this saddle is not as wide as, to fit this gap. So if I don't hold it back, it kind of tilts forward, and it still has a forward tilt to it. So I'm not sure if it's hitting the pickup, properly, So we may have to get a wider saddle and possibly a longer one and like custom do it. I guess people do make like custom saddles for like 30 or 40 bucks, but they're still going to have to be shaved or sanded majorly down in height, because this bridge is not meant to have an under saddle pickup. I had to go about a 1/16 of an inch down inside there, and that may not be the problem at all. It might be because this side isn't sanded level with this side here or something. I don't know what the issue is, but definitely got some issue or bone density. Well, let's try it with the plastic saddle now that we sanded it down, and it should be flatter, so hopefully it'll sound great. Now back to the plastic saddle. to do it plugged in. It seems like, to me, the clear winner is the plastic saddle. And it could be just the bone density, you know, is something going on with the low E and A area. Or, like I said, it could be because we didn't sand it perfectly flush when we did the saddle slot, when we sanded it down. But you can hear it. I mean, when it's plugged in, it sounds pretty great. That was with, you know, not an acoustic amp, no reverb, anything, no EQ, just whatever it had. So I think it's about time to take these strings that have been stretched so much out, clean the guitar up, put a new set on them, and not even worry about the action anymore. I think it's pretty good, pretty low now. Maybe later we'll put a bone nut or something, you know, at the top, or maybe a brass nut to give it some more brightness. But yeah, I think we're about done. We got the ebony bridge pins. We've messed with the truss rod. We've, you know, got a new nut there, and saddle shaved, sanded. So we did kind of a minimally abrasive cleanup here. Not perfect. It's got a little sheen to it now. Still looks a little rough right there. The other side. Yep, there's some scuffs and stuff on it, but scuff scratches and all kinds of stuff on it. All that matters is how it plays. So let's get her stringed up. So I got 2 sets of extra strings. Basically what happened is I bought 1 set on Amazon, and one of the strings on the 3rd retuning popped, so I could have sent it back to Amazon as defective. And actually what I did is look for a single string to replace it with. I was just going to buy one, but the EJ40 is Silken Steel, and you cannot buy the individual strings, you have to buy the whole set. So I emailed Diodario and I said, you know, can I get a replacement string? You know, is there a guarantee on it? And George Santos, which I guess is a representative, asked me for, I guess, there's a code in there because these strings are faked. You know, Chinese sellers or whatever are selling fake strings as originals. So once he confirmed that they were real strings, he said, hey, I got 2 sets. You cannot buy these individually, the strings individually for the set, so I'm just going to send you 2 for free. You know, a week and a half later or so, here they are. This company definitely seems to believe in their product, you know, and support their product really well. If they have like a problem with something, it seems like they're on the case. All right, we got new strings on it. Just gonna tune her up. Right, first test is just now into tune, so it could not, you know, it's probably not gonna be fully in tune. It's gonna go out. Let's just hear what how it sounds. Already out of tune, I can hear it. So we're going to hear it plugged in again. The strings are probably already a little bit out of tune. Definitely can hear it slightly out of tune on that last bit. So basically, I'm going to wait until the strings stretch out a little bit, and and stay in tune. And I'll be back, and I'm gonna mic the amp up probably with the SM-57, and we'll probably mic the actual acoustic up to hear it how it sounds naturally as well. So what you've been hearing is just the iPhone mic